at 9 o'clock sharp. I think we nailed it.
We are cool.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How was your Christmas?
It was quiet. You know, I'm used to having a big family around and everybody in the kitchen cooking and just, you know, just a big family. And it was not that way. It was quiet. Our most fun thing was our dog. I had put together a little bag with dog toys in it.
Cute.
And he would nuzzle in there and he knew it was for him and he'd pull out a toy and go play with it.
Trying to figure out which one is his favorite?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, let me make sure I got this right. First of all, good morning to you guys as well. Joann aren't just going to sit here and talk to each other the whole time.
Yes, that's right.
I hope you all had a Merry Christmas. I'm learning that my son, who's 4.5, like, it's so fun because he gets it now. Mm-hmm. And so he gets excited and he goes and checks the cookies and, you know what I mean, the milk and it's gone. Mm-hmm. But he gets so, like, I feel bad because there's so many nice presents and stuff that family has given or whatever. And I'm like, oh, he's going to love this one. But he just opened an iPad. So anything that's next is
downhill from there.
Or he's just overwhelmed. He's like, this is great. Mm-hmm. Next. What, you know, you can see them just start. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, they get it. And then when everything is open for them, they say, well, is there anything else? Is there another present?
Is there anything? Oh, that's it?
That's all?
I'm like, you little guy. No, it was awesome, and he was great, and it was really fun. So mm-hmm. It was also quiet and relaxing. And mm-hmm. I'm kind of glad it was a little cold. I know Florida people are going to hate me for that. But honestly, it made it feel a little bit more like Christmas today.
Uh-huh. That's true. And I felt the same way. I was cold, but it felt like Christmas.
I brought the heater out. We were good. All right. Let me make sure that I can see not only us, but you guys, if you are going, when you comment. Because, again, we want this interaction. So this is episode number 4. We're figuring it out as we go. Mm-hmm. And so far, so good. I got my cheat sheet today. Oh, so any fun jokes, tidbits, anything this morning?
You know, no, because this is kind of a down week for me. It's a week where I don't find a whole lot of humor. I tend to be really serious because I am thinking about my New Year's resolutions.
Oh. So you're just getting depressed ahead of time?
Well, I want to, you know, it's a big thing for me to kind of formulate those resolutions and figure out how I'm going to achieve them. And, you know, I'm a very goal-oriented person, so
that's awesome, actually. So every year I do the same thing as everyone does. We make a resolution, and I'll stick to it for so much time, and then I just kind of go back into. I was reading something like the old me. Mm-hmm. Which the old me is not horrible, but you know what I mean? It's
you want to move forward.
How do you stick to your, you know, and I don't know. I don't have the answer. I don't think anybody does. So if you figure it out.
Well, I always wanted to write a book, and it was going to be named The Resolution Revolution. And it was how you take those resolutions and make them a reality, make them, you know, really... Nice. And a lot of it has to do with goal setting. And, you know, you start out with kind of what is your dream, and then you take that dream and you put it into goals.
I love that. And I've heard that writing things down, believe it or not, makes it more a reality. You know what I mean? You can...
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to read that. Go ahead and write it for us, would you?
One of many. I have all these books in my head.
All right. Well, I don't know why this isn't working, but I see Debbie. Good morning, Debbie.
Hi,
I hope
Debbie.
You had an amazing Christmas. And I don't want to say Happy New Year yet, but that's next. And that's insane that it's been a year.
That's right, a year for you here.
Well, technically it was November, but it still feels like I'm saying 1 year until I guess next year. Because we had our grand reopening in January, so that was such an epic day that's what kind of marks in my mind the 1 year mark. You know? And it's been amazing, literally. It and I've said it so many times, it's suspiciously good.
And I hope it stays reality good.
Well, well, thank you. I think it will, to be honest with you. But you hear, you know, horror stories, and anybody who's a business owner, and gosh, the first year's, you know, the worst. You're gonna, and really, I knew the industry, and I love the industry, and so I think my situation was a little different, our situation. So it's been awesome, and it has a lot to do with you guys and the customers here. everybody's happier in Florida. It's just,
Isn't that the truth? Somebody else was just saying that the other day, how she had gone to the store and it's the day before Christmas and it's crowded and everybody's trying to get someplace, but everybody's very pleasant.
I don't know if they're like just either retired, mentally retired, if it's just warmer so they're less grumpy.
Yeah, I don't
for
know
whatever reason. Don't change. We love it.
Yeah.
And it's been an amazing year. Okay, so Shop Hop, I wanted to get this up so you guys can see it. I'm excited about this. This is our first Shop Hop of 2023. We did do a Shop Hop, I don't remember when it was. It was a smaller kind of impromptu Shop Hop not long after we took over, but we've been planning for this one. And it's January 14th through January 21st. So the 14th to the 21st. I have a list of all the shops involved, but it's not too daunting. In other words, you could actually go to all of the shops without putting too much mileage on your car, which is nice.
Yeah. This was a Shop Hop. We have actually been here. We moved in on the 7th of January last year.
Yeah.
And this came up very quickly after we moved in. So my girlfriend and I went on this Shop Hop. It gave us a really good idea of what shops were in the area and who sold what kind of thing. And, you know, so if I'm looking for such and such, this is the shop I would go to. So it was a cool Shop Hop. And this is probably my favorite ever in Shop Hops of the
blocks?
The blocks that they're doing as a panel. And it, you know, every shop did their own, had their own square.
Yeah, so not to interrupt you, but what's cool about this, and I loved the idea, is every shop literally took a photo and then they turned it into fabric. They printed it on the fabric.
That is cool.
And so
I didn't know that.
well, after this fabric is gone, if in other words, if you don't come to the Shop Hop, you can never get these blocks again. So very unique, which is really cool.
Yeah. And
exclusive.
So,
I love it. And
just favorite places in the area, like the Flagler Beach Pier for Cut Up and Sew. And Miss Dee's has the bridge that goes over the St. Johns River, which is one of my favorite bridges. And, you know, just some really cool stuff on there.
It's awesome. We're the Flagler Beach Pier down here. It's awesome. And these are really cool shops that are involved. It's a ton of fun. We still have passports, by the way. It's $7. Come get you one. And I'm sure most of you have probably done a Shop Hop at some point in your life, but tons of specials at each shop. But really, for me, it's all about, it gives you an excuse to go to a shop you've never been to before.
Right.
Okay, I'll make the trip this time because I need to get my card filled up. And then there'll be drawings for, you know, I don't remember exactly what the giveaways are, but all sorts of stuff. Plus, it's fun. Do a carpool. Yeah,
and there's an excitement level at all the shops. You know, people are coming in and they've been planning for this, so it's really fun.
It is fun. Good morning, Raina. Good morning, AJ. What's up, my dude? Good morning, Patricia. All right, I think that's everybody. Okay, so Shop Hop, January 14th through the 21st. Okay. Mark your calendars. I will talk a lot more about that. And I want to make sure I give you enough time today. So I'm going to go lightning fast. Just really quick, we got some really cool new patterns in. These are Krista Moser patterns, and I'll just quickly hold some up. I love the modern patterns, quilts, and everything, but
can they see these?
I think maybe they can. It looks like it's picking up okay. If not, come into the shop and you can see it better.
That's right.
This one's cool, and I know technically you can hold that one up as well. It's, you know, Christmassy, but this could it's winter, you know, and this is awesome. These are really cool patterns here. I'll let you go lightning fast.
That's right.
Krista Moser, we will have some samples for these coming soon. And if you remember, when we held this up last week, and I'm not going to hold the whole quilt up again, but these really nice scalloped edges, right? Scallop binding, scalloped edges. We talked about a ruler. Well, the ruler came in, so I will let you hold. Thank you, Vanna.
Just if only I were that thin.
Hey. But this is really cool. I'm trying to reconnect. Let's see here. There we go. We're back. There's 3 different levels that we were talking about. So I think she used like the mid-range depth versus a really deep curve or a shallow curve. So this is a really neat, another Creative Grids ruler that you should add to your collection. Very cool. I just wanted to show that because we talked about it.
Can you see? So, scallop template. Because what I think is, so this border is actually a wave as opposed to a scallop, where a scallop comes to that pointed here. But this ruler will do both of those. You can do the scallop that comes to a point, or you can do this nice wave, which is a lot easier to do. Awesome.
Doesn't look easy, but says the quilter, though. So everything looks difficult to a non-quilter. Mm-hmm. But anytime there's binding involved, I shrivel up and pass it. Next. Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk about, and the notion that I'm going to be giving away somehow today. You have to follow along to figure it out. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Kay. Okay, so we have a good selection of thread, in my opinion. But there is so much thread out there.
Oh, there is.
It's so hard to have it all. So we carry, and I'm gonna next week on the 5th, is Monday, January the 2nd, I believe.
Yes, it is.
So we will probably have this. I don't know if you're available, but I'm going to get in and we're going to actually have like a thread episode, and because there is a lot to talk about. But one of my favorites is embroidery, polyester thread. I shouldn't even say embroidery thread because you can use it for whatever you want. We'll talk more about that next week. But Exquisite, when I bought this shop, I was not familiar with Exquisite, so I said, okay, well, we're going to put this to the test, you know, and I love it. It's priced insanely good. You're not breaking the bank, but the color selection's fantastic, and I love that they have put together, Dime has put together all these different, I think we can see it, all right? Maybe not.
Yeah.
Sorry to keep making you get up.
It's okay. It's good for me.
So
this is kind of a purple thing. So
it's called Color Play, which is really neat. Go ahead, show that.
So I'm not an embroidery person, but I see that these are put together in a little package. Is this the sort of thing so that if you're embroidering something, you have, I see that it says 5 spool thread.
Coordinating colors, essentially. So, you know, some people struggle with matching colors. It's not their strong suit. They may be amazing at piecing or whatever, but they struggle with picking colors, or they want to get out of their comfort zone and they don't know how to do that. And so I like, this one's called Carlsbad Collection, you know, and this one's called the Madison Collection. This is the Rio Collection. Obviously there's some themes to them, but what's nice is the colors that they've chosen. There's a variegated thread in each one. They just look really nice. And I love the choices that Dime has made with these. So these are really cool. And we're going to get more into, we've got a ton of Dime products and Wonderful products, and we're going to get into Aurifil and some other stuff. So stay tuned next week, but also stay tuned to this episode, because at some point I'm going to throw something out there and you can get one of these kits for free.
That would be cool.
Packages, kits, I guess it's a kit. Collections for free.
And I've actually used this same thread on my long arm, and it works well on the long arm.
Absolutely. Well, I don't want to get into the thread thing.
Okay.
That's a.
Okay. Next week.
I'll start diving and start ranting and raving, giving my opinion that no one wants to hear. Okay. Joann's tips and tricks. You want to jump in? I know that last week I rambled for so long that you didn't get to show anything.
No, that's okay, because I've moved on.
Okay.
So, but what I wanted to talk about is, as the Friday class is going to be starting up again, second week in March. I'm sorry, second week in January. Okay, and the quilt, I don't have a real sample. I have almost a quilt today, or not quite a quilt. But what the idea of this quilt is, and I'm going to kind of lay it out for you here, is you're going to take two colors, 2 10-inch squares. And from there, you're going to make 4 half square triangles. Let me know if I'm not on the.
No, you're good.
So we have the 4 half square triangles that were made out of the 10-inch square that you made here.
I made it a pen.
So from there, with these 4 half square triangles, we're going to make an hourglass block. And this always fascinates me because the hourglass block is 12 inches, and we made that out of a 10-inch square. It's one of those things that I don't get, okay? So that's where we start, okay? 2 10-inch squares, we make 4 half square triangles. The half square triangle, we make a hourglass, okay?
That's so cool.
Then from there, we're going to make blocks out of that, and the blocks will be put together to make a quilt that looks something like this. Here's one block.
Wow. I just got to say, so a lot of beginner quilters, new quilters, people that want to get into quilting will come into the shop. And Joann, you and I kind of talked about this the other day. If they didn't hear your first couple of, if they didn't hear you start from the beginning and they walked in and they saw what I could see is forming as a really cool looking quilt, if they just look at this, their immediate thing is, ooh, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's too hard.
It's too hard. It looks, well, and that's what's cool about quilts, though. It's all about the cutting and the way that you're turning and the effect that you can create. And it's not that difficult. I mean, there is some, some skill involved for sure, especially when you're matching the points up. But it's almost like an illusion that you get. Cutting strips and then chopping them up creates one look, and so don't be intimidated. Don't assume that it's too difficult, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so this is about how it comes together. And it's obviously a star quilt. Oh my goodness, I do have 9.
Look at that. It's like you planned it.
It's like I planned it. How did that happen? Okay, so this is kind of how it comes together. And you can see that it's a star quilt. It's a quilt that has enough going for it that it's contemporary enough that it'll be a joy by people who like more contemporary quilts. However, by just using a little bit different fabric, you can make it look, if you're more of a traditional sewer, you can do that. So it kind of spans that, that distance between traditional and contemporary. The other thing it does is you can put it together. You can put it together pretty easily without much trouble, but it's a great quilt to learn some precision piecing techniques with. For example, one of the things that happens is when you take these 2 10-inch squares and make 4 half-square triangles out of them, what you end up with is a quilt that's almost completely on the bias. So, but you as the quilter are in control, and you can control that bias and still use it to your advantage. And so that's one of the things you'll learn about is how to control the bias, how to make sure that in spite of that bias, in spite of those problems that you may see with that, this quilt's going to turn out perfect anyway. And so let's say you're looking at that and you're thinking, I just don't want to make another star quilt. That's fine. Next week, I will show you how to take the same thing where you take the 10-inch square and make 4 half-square triangles, turn it into an hourglass block, and cut it in the same way, but you put it together differently, and you'll come out with a completely different pattern.
That's what I'm talking about. That's so cool. I love that. But it is, at first glance, I would say, oh, that's difficult. But when you break it down, it's so cool. I love the effect. And so is this intermediate level, confident beginner? Like, in all honesty, what do you feel like?
I don't want you to sign up for this if you've never made a quilt before.
Right.
Unless you are a confident sewer. Maybe you've been making garments for all your life and you're really confident with your machine and how fabric works and things like that. That's a little different. But if you're just coming into the shop and saying, oh, I've never made a quilt before, this probably isn't where you want to start. But you learn a lot of technique in here that is just really it really makes you a solid quilter. And it's really good for people who have made a couple of quilts and maybe you're frustrated with, well, how come my half square triangles don't meet properly in the center? Or how come I can't get my edges to meet up properly when I put my seams together? So those are things that you'll learn about, and you will learn how to make those work for you better, so that in your future quilts you'll be able to confidently make a whole quilt with half square triangles and it comes out perfect.
Awesome. Debbie says, love it, can't wait. Good morning to you too, Maria. Yeah, Debbie, speaking of, so you started, I feel like it was almost a year ago, but like when you started the quilt classes, and there was a group of ladies that were beginners. I mean, I think all of them were, right? And then you could just see the progression. Each quilt got more difficult, and you could see it was just really cool to watch.
Oh, good.
And Debbie, I believe, was a part of that. So I'm excited for this one. I love the look of this one. I don't want to make any of these. I don't have the patience to. I would prefer, once I'm confident enough in my free motion ability, I would say, fantastic, you piece it and I'll quilt it. I would be more on that side. And I know you're one of the ones that can do both. Most people are on either, I'll do the piecing, I'll make the top, or I'll be the quilter.
And I think a lot of people, on that note, I think a lot of people are the sort who like, maybe they don't like picking out the fabric because going back to, it's a little bit of a challenge trying to get all those colors together and figure that all out. But once they've got their colors and they figured it out, they love making the quilt. They love how it looks, but then they're ready to go on to the next quilt. Yeah. And they're not ready. They don't want to do the quilting part. And personally, I really enjoy taking that quilt that somebody is really proud of and making it a quilt that they love and are going to use or give with pride or whatever. I like being part of that process.
It's awesome. And it's all art. That's why I love it. It's all creating, and it's such a cool thing to watch.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's really fun to watch people come into their own, not just make the quilt that, I've put this quilt up and we can make that. They're not making that quilt, they're making their own quilt. And I enjoy helping people make their own quilt.
Yes, you do, and it shows. Let's see. Good morning, Joy. I don't think I said hello to you, or Nancy. I apologize. Good morning, Beverly. Handful of people I missed. Sorry about that. Well, okay, so next week we're going to get into that a little bit more. Remind me, and then when are we going to start the first class? Is it?
Second week in January.
The second week in January. Okay. I don't have a calendar. Well, I'm on both of my calendars.
Okay, so I can tell you that in just a second.
Okay, cool. Speaking of dates to remember, Shop Hop, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but the first person that we see in the comments, they can give me the accurate dates for this Shop Hop. I'll just tell you it's in January. The first person to comment with the accurate dates gets the free collection of thread, and I'll let you take your pick of the colors. So the first person, and don't get mad at me, we're going to go back and watch it. I won't announce you live. I learned the hard way. My apologies. For some reason, when we are watching it live, it shows up in sometimes a different order than when you watch the replay. So
we do our best.
Yeah, and honestly,
it's an imperfect world.
It is an imperfect world, but we try. All right, what was the date?
Okay, so the date for the first Friday class will be 13th of January.
January 13th.
And
the day possibly before something. I'm about to give them the answer over here. All right, I made that too easy.
I was going to do that too, so I understand.
Okay, awesome. So, and also, if you are interested in you've never quilted before and you want a beginner quilt class, I mean, as far as the concept of quilting, a lot of people need to understand what piecing means and picking out the right fabric. So, reach out to us. We can create a class. We're still kind of working on a way to figure out how to have this going on and beginner classes or quilting classes. So, but for the most part, I've always been really I just hammer this down. If there's something you want to learn, call me because we'll figure out a way to teach it. I've got educators who have the ability to teach pretty much anything. So reach out. If Joann's busy, we have other people that can help. So just call us. That's the easiest thing to do. All right. Did anybody? No. Okay. So somebody's going to go back and watch it, and then they're going to type it in. Good for you. Oh. Debbie nailed it.
Good for you, Debbie.
This is just a test to see if you're paying attention, Debbie. This was all for you. All right, awesome, congrats. And I don't have to go back and watch that. Nobody else has commented, so you can come in and take your pick. We'll see you soon. Good morning, Susan. Okay, before we jump off, we're right about half an hour. That's kind of our goal. That's not bad.
It is, that's perfect.
Want to remind you about the Tula Pink Club. Starts the 7th, January the 7th is the first Saturday of January. So come join us. Get excited about Tula Pink. And if you're just curious about what the club, it's free. So if you're just curious about what we're actually going to be doing in the club, come find out. It costs $0.
It's always a plus. The other thing about the Tula Pink, I was just thinking about that, is that if you're interested in more contemporary quilting and piecing, that's a great place to come. You don't necessarily need to use the Tula Pink fabric, although it's great to do that. But you can take the fabrics that you like and put them into more contemporary designs. And
it's true. And everybody assumes because most of the stuff that they see Tula, they think it's all crazy and wild and really fun and modern. I mean, and she pushes the boundaries, which is why I love her. But she has a whole collection of and some pieces that aren't quite as funky. So part of that whole club is to introduce.
If you look at this is all Tula fabric and behind me. And so I really like her.
I didn't even think about that. It absolutely is.
And I really like her fabrics, but there's a lot that I just will never buy because I'll never use them. But she has a lot of fabric that really will appeal to that more traditional taste, the less wild side.
Yeah. Hi, Irene. Good morning.
All kinds of people on there today.
I know. I love it. Everybody's jumping in because everybody's sitting at home with nothing to do.
Well, thanks for making our day.
All right. Speaking of which, I just want to let you know I will be here today until about 2 o'clock. It's going to be a short day, but I figured you never know who got some Christmas gift cards. They want to come in and spend them, use them. So I'm here. Feel free to give us a call if you have any questions or if you need anything. But then tomorrow we're here regular hours until Saturday, which is New Year's Eve, which is crazy again to say out loud. We're going to be closed Saturday, and then after that, it's on. No more breaks.
So I was surprised when I stopped by on Saturday and you were closed.
Did you really? Oh no, I told. So you got to pay attention to our Facebook and our website. And I should have put a sign on the door. I thought about that. I was like sitting at home going, "It's cold."
Well, it was pretty obvious when the lights were out and the door was locked.
Well, I guess that's true. The idea is to save you a trip, though. I'm trying to hit you with Facebook, and anyway. So. All right, so open the rest of the week and then close Saturday. I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. I will. You will be getting probably an email from me pretty soon, possibly today or tomorrow. We're having a last-minute blowout sale because it's 2022 at the end of 2022, and we have a few machines and things that I want to get rid of before 2023. So. Stay posted to that. I'll probably go live and do something a little bit later tomorrow, most likely. Other than that, that's it. I hope you guys had an awesome Christmas. I'm glad you had a relaxing one.
I did. It was good.
I look forward to the quilt class starting. And anything else?
Not for me.
Not from you? All right. Awesome. Well, you guys have an amazing day. I hope you had an amazing Christmas. If we don't see you, have a happy new year. It's just still crazy, but I hope we see you.
Yep.
So have an awesome day. Bye,
Take
guys.
care. Bye.